We are coming off the heels of a very big and noteworthy UFC 295 from this past weekend. We did pretty good on our predictions overall. I'd be lying if I said the way some of these things happen weren't still a surprise.
First of all, amazing card. All finishes on the main card. So people really showed out for the crowd at MSG. So that was great. Picks wise, pretty well. Didn't pick this first fight right, though. Diego Lopez versus Pat Sabatini.
Yeah, Lopez showed up. That's all I could say. He looked really good. These first two fights in particular, it's almost like, really, what do you say? Lopez just came out super aggressive, looked sharp, and finished him. Got him out of there in the first round. So it's not really a lot to comment on. I picked up some potential opponents for the winners coming out of this. And for me, Lopez currently isn't in the top 15, so I looked at that top 15, and right at number 15, Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy. I thought that'd be a nice little fight.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a great fight. A tough fight for Caceres for sure, but a good step up for Lopez. As far as the fight with Sabatini, I'm with you. There's not much to say. He just came out and clipped Pat early. Bummer for Pat to get finished so early at MSG. It is what it is. That's fighting. So Matt Steamroller Favola versus Benoit Saint Denis.
Yeah, Benoit Saint Denis, he came out. This is almost like the first fight, a house of fire. He did what he had to do to get the win. The only thing I would say a little bit different is obviously for it's a bigger step up in competition. Both guys I thought were super aggressive. I don't want to say careless, but they were both going for that finish right away. But in the end, Benoit was the one who came out on top. This guy just continues to impress and move up the ladder. So for him, I went a little bit bigger. We're looking outside that top 15, but I'm thinking Bobby Green or Dan Hooker. Maybe the winner of that could face Benoit next.
Yeah, that would be great matchmaking. I know he called out Poirier, but he's never getting that fight. Come on, let's be real. Make a reasonable call out. That was a wasted opportunity. So, yeah, I think you're right, though. Bobby Green or Dan Hooker, both good fights, too. As far as the fight with Matt, I thought Matt looked a little bit nervous. Maybe the moment fighting at home in MSG got to him a little bit. Poor defensive discipline, not keeping his hands up when he was circling off from the clinch there. And he got head kicked and put out pretty quickly. So, bummer for him, but he's one of those live by the sword, die by the sword kind of guys. So I'm sure that won't be the last time something like that happens to him. Exciting fight while it lasted. Jessica Andrade versus Mackenzie Dern, another finish.
And this is what we did get wrong too. Jessica Andrade, she looked like the Andrade of old, you could say. She was patient in there. I thought Jason Pereira was with Mackenzie Dern for this fight. I guess she wasn't. I found out after. I guess somebody made the comment, whoever let go of Pereira should be fired, which would make sense, though, because I definitely thought Dern's striking almost went backwards a little bit in this fight. She looked a little less careless compared to the last fight with Hill. Obviously, Andrade has a lot more power.
I think that's the main cause. Once she started getting touched up a little bit is when you started getting wild.
Regardless, Andrade, great win. Great to get her back on track. For her, I went a little higher because I realized Carla Esparza does not had a fight in a little while. And if she's looking to get back in there, I think she's currently ranked number 1. But, I think
she just had a kid.
Oh, okay. Well, that fight's probably not going to happen. But it's a tough for Andrade because she's fought so many of these women. Whether she's won or lost, she's fought almost everybody at this point.
Yeah, she's got like 20 fights in the UFC or more across 3 weight divisions. So, yeah, she's definitely going to have to start repeating some fights, some rematches and stuff for sure. Andrade finally looked like herself again, so it was good to see her back looking good. And like we said, Dern's striking did look quite a bit rougher once she started getting tagged. And if you have the skills on the ground that Mackenzie Dern has, you should only be working on takedowns. So you should have a wrestling coach, and you should keep your hands crisp and continue working to improve in all areas, but that's a good area to improve in. And Jason Perillo is a great boxing coach, basically, striking coach. So I'm not sure what that was, whether, Perillo has too much on his hands with Cheeto or what, or if Mackenzie didn't want to continue the relationship or whatever, but she needs to get somebody else in that spot that can keep her going because she lost her head in there on the feet for sure. Still tough. She's got a real warrior spirit on the feet, She's game for sure, but just needs to tighten it up a little bit. Co-main event fight I was most excited for on the card, Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall.
Aspinall, we both predicted he would win here. I think we thought, he just had a little more tools and he had survived not getting hit. Ironically, he got hit right at the beginning of the fight, but this also shows he has a hell of a chin. And he reminded us he also has that one punch power as well. So, like, I thought, he'd wear him down, take him down, and maybe get a little ground and pound. No, he clipped him hard, then gave him a few shots, but this fight was pretty over after that big shot by Tom. This guy's a world champion. You can put interim in there, but at the end of the day, he showed me he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. And I'm talking Francis, I'm talking John Jones. I don't know where Stipe is currently. That this next fight would have probably told us, but Aspinall's there. He's the real deal. And I hope, like, for his next fight, I would love it to be John Jones, because that would be ideal if Jones, let's say he does the legacy fight with Stipe, and then, he sticks around to fight Tom, because Tom deserves that passing of the guard. If this guy's going to end up defending this interim title, because they may make him do that, I'll just throw this out there. There's a lot of fresh matchups for Tom, because he's still got some people he hasn't fought. Almeida, Cyril Gahn, they haven't fought. And even, honestly, Curtis Blades, because that's the fight he injured himself in. So all of these are potential compelling matchups, too. So I hope Tom stays on top, and we have a lot of potential compelling heavyweight fights. Also, the UK is one of the best crowds there is going, so I look forward to this guy possibly defending the title over there.
A great performance. Also told Lorosenko he had a back injury,
yes,
and could not train the last 10 days before the fight. Didn't even know if he was going to make it to the fight, but you can't say no when you're given that sort of opportunity, he said. So respect to him just for taking the fight and making it to the cage. As far as the actual fight with Sergey, it was masterful. He, like you said, he did get touched once, and we all got a little bit nervous, but he came back with stunned Sergey the first time, and then he landed that, I think it was left hook right on the jaw and put him out, and then followed up a little bit. So respect to him, respect to Sergey. I'm sure that Sergey will be back. He also looked a little bit nervous. He was wary of Tom's power, obviously, rightly so. But I think he'll be back. He still has all the skills to be champion, for sure. But as far as Jones and Stipe, I think Tom's better than both of them at this point. I mean, Stipe, they showed him walking into the arena. The man can barely walk. So I don't know how he's going to do in a fight with somebody as athletic as Tom. But I think you give Stipe the fight against Tom, because I don't think Jones is going to be back for a while. And Tom said he wanted to defend his quote-unquote interim belt. It's a real belt. John Jones is not the heavyweight champion anymore, in my eyes. He wanted to defend it at UFC 300, which I think, heavyweight champion of the world or whatever, giant 300 card. I think you give it to him. Given the legacy fight versus Stipe, he also said he'd fight Almeida or whatever. I think anyone you throw in there at this point, I would favor Tom. Main event, Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira.
I think Chael Sonnen was talking about this, and he was saying, does really Pereira show us anything new in this? And this guy's got almost an amateur record when you think about it. He's only had 10 fights. He's not a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He doesn't have any strong wrestling background. But because he has this unique skill set, he's a dynamic striker with his power. At the end of the day, now already after 11 fights, he's had a Hall of Fame career. He's had, in one calendar year, he's been a champion in 2 different weight classes in the UFC. And he said it's an argument to make him fighter of the year. And the guy who's the current champion at middleweight didn't even get out of one round who hit Alex Pereira. So it's very unique. I mean, if you look at the fight too, like Prochazka was his awkward self a little bit at times, and he was catching Pereira at different times, but Pereira was lighting him up. And yeah, I don't know. It's not too many people to have this kind of unique skill set like Pereira does, where I feel like I could see him lose. Like, he really is the definition of anybody can win in MMA, because I feel like he could get caught by a really good, solid wrestler at middleweight or light heavyweight. But on any given day, this guy could light somebody up at heavyweight and be heavyweight champion. He's incredible. I'm not saying I would favor that, but I'm he's got that kind of striking skill set where it's something to watch, like Izzy, except for bigger and stronger. So for his next fight, to me, you got to go Jamal Hill, though. I know he wants Adesanya. I know that's the money fight. But to me, Jamal Hill had never lost that title. He got hurt. He looked good against Glover. So if Jamal Hill, as long as he's ready to come back, that's the fight to make. By the way, a fight I think is still very winnable for Pereira, because Jamal likes to bang too. So
yeah,
see what happens.
He has gotten a lot of favorable matchups for sure, because of the storyline with Izzy. He got a good push through middleweight and now light heavyweight. But he did fight Jan Blachowicz, who can grapple. He decided not really to grapple, but he survived 3 rounds with him. And Yuri can grapple as well, but decided he wanted to be in a kickboxing match with a world kickboxing champion, which I was worried about going into the fight. He didn't address Alex's devastating low leg kick early enough, and that's what really cost him the fight. Once he didn't have his footwork, he was just there to be hit by Alex. I'm sure Yuri will be back. Respect to him for saying that he was actually out, addressing the stoppage after the fight. I'm sure he'll be back. He'll probably go sit in a dark room and meditate for 3 weeks or something, whatever he does. But I'm sure he'll get it figured out. He'll be back, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's champion again at some point. As far as Alex, yes, I think Jamal Hill needs to be right. I know people are giving Jamal Hill shit for his antics outside of the cage where he's putting the crown on his head, figuratively or whatever. I mean, he was the champion. Yeah, you want a confident fighter, so I don't see why people are upset with that. Hill is also a favorable matchup for Alex. When you see the likes of like Ankalaev or Rakic or Krylov or something like that down the list, those guys are going to give him real trouble, I think. His grappling just not quite at that level. He kind of just survives on the ground at this point. He did manage to get up, but from a takedown, but he needs to continue to work to improve.
Great show overall, though.
Yeah, what a card. MSG, had a real one there. It was great.